Hi everybody, this video is on the topic of giving your dog choices for their physical and mental well-being. Not only is this beneficial to the dog, but it's beneficial to your relationship with your dog. Sometimes we can fall into the trap of having a one-sided relationship with our dogs, thinking that we know what's in their best interest and manipulating everything so they have very little choice in their lives, in the home environment, and also when we go on outings with them. So by building in choice, freedom of choice, where they can make decisions on their own, that is going to, in my opinion, drastically reduce behavior issues in your dog. They're using their mind and they're using their body. So for example, even with a young puppy, a lot of times you might go onto the internet and find advice about keeping the puppy in a small crate so that they learn not to go to the toilet in your house. But what is happening in that small crate is their degrees of freedom are drastically reduced. So in terms of that term created by Israel Golddiamond, basically when you have fewer choices, you have fewer degrees of freedom. So inside a little crate, what can a puppy do? Well, they can't go to the toilet, they can't drink, they can't eat, they can't play. They might have very limited choices of play. Perhaps they could eat their bed. And a lot of people wonder, I wonder why he's eating his bed in his crate. Basically, they can stand up, turn around to the left, turn around to the right, and lay down and chew on the bars or chew on their bed. There's very limited choices of what, and no social interaction. And the movement of their body is very limited. So their body and their mind is growing differently than if a puppy or a dog is able to make choices about their movement and choices about what they want to do. So I really believe the faster you can move on to teaching default behaviors where your dog is able to not do the things you don't want them to do in your house, such as destroying your couch, chewing on things. As quickly as you can move on to teaching them those lessons, then they can have freedom of choice. And you can reinforce the choices you want them to make. So they can have decisions to make, but you can reinforce the behaviors you want them to do. So perhaps playing with toys, or chewing on a bone, or moving around the house, choosing different beds to lay in, choosing different rooms to lay in. It's extremely important to build your relationship and your connection with your dog so they want to be with you when out and about. But it's also, in my opinion, extremely important to give your dog choices of what they would like to do when they're out and about. So perhaps you live in a busy city and your dog's choices are very limited. So their degrees of freedom are very limited. There's too many people on the sidewalk, all the smells of bile because it's the human city, and there's oil and car exhausts, no nature for them to explore. The only possibilities they have there really is to investigate what other dogs' scents have been left behind. So one thing you can do is, if you are in a busy city, you can say, let's go, and you might have a default walking on a loose leash at your side to get past people, and then you go somewhere that you think your dog might enjoy, and then give them a cue like go sniff to explore the environment, and then you can follow your dog with a loose leash and let them explore. Obviously, you're going to prevent them going into the road or into some dangerous situation or meeting someone else's dog who doesn't want you to have your dog meet theirs. So you can create these environments where your dog can make choices. Sometimes your dog might say, no, I don't want to explore that environment. One way to see if it's just that your dog hasn't really thought to have the idea yet is going and exploring it yourself. So you can say, go sniff, and then get down and point and say, oh, what's that? And point out something like a bush. Because sometimes dogs, if they have never explored before, or maybe you've rescued them from an environment where they haven't made choices, they might not think to do it. After building your trust, relationship, and connection with your dog, you can then explore environments off-leash where your dog is able to make choices, but you can also guide them safely from bad choices, such as going into an area that's not safe. For example, recently my dogs were headed down a river and they were headed towards a waterfall.
Guys, there's a waterfall there. Come on, let's go this way. Whee!